In any esports game, there's always a meta playstyle. For RTS, it's the combination of units and tactics that prove to be the most efficient. Sometimes it even seems that meta is the only way to win big things in the game, and to become the champion, you truly need to master it. Seldom, we can see players who refuse to bend to one universal playstyle. All of a sudden, they come up with build orders never used, and their playstyle isn't supposed to work, but miraculously, it does. With a combination of creativity and surprise, they often cause the greatest upsets and bring the most entertaining games to the community. The Protoss race has always had many of such players due to how flexible this race is when it comes to playing all-ins and cheeses. Perhaps one of the most influential players of all time was Ukrainian Protoss White Raw, who even coined the term special tactics, a combination of everything unorthodox to bring your opponent down in a cool fashion.
Well, you're hearing screams of special tactics all the time. Can you tell us really what is the definition of special tactics?
Good gameplay. Make something big surprise for your enemy, and same time it must work very well.
In StarCraft 2, the special tactics were weaponized by many other Protoss players, who would use them not rarely, but in the majority of their games, creating a unique playstyle both for ladder and tournament brackets. Some strategies were so ridiculously designed and well executed that even Brood War Bonjois would fall against players like Haz.
This is a different cannon rush than I had in mind.
What? What?
He's gonna make sure nothing
What?
is ever...
What the? What? This. Somebody tell Haas that this does not actually make sense.
In the closing moments, Ben, I think that Jaedong is in a little bit of trouble. You
cannot
started laughing,
work.
but I see 3 cannons right now shooting at spine crawlers. I see spine crawlers being cancelled at rapid speed. I see a Protoss with more workers than a Zerg.
And there is no way for Jaedong to get another hatchery.
Unless he kills the rocks. Well, Ben. Do the commentary, please.
I'm trying to find the words, but so I mean, it looks like this hatchery's dead. Jaedong is going to have a couple of spine crawlers on the low ground, but he can't actually reposition them to fight the cannon. He ends up actually canceling them.
19 against 19. This is okay. +1 is not ready yet. If there's ever a moment to fight, this might be the moment. I think that you can still drop good force suits, I guess.
I think that's a pretty reasonable fight for Jaedong, but does he have enough? Is there enough Zerglings here? Do we see the spine crawler repositioning? Queens are trying to help fight, but there's going to be another warp in, and there are not... Oh my god, this cannot be happening right now. The Queens are being transfused very well. The last of the initial Zealots go down.
Zerglings is not good enough, man. You really need roaches against this. Haas with a lot of Zealots in the main base. Spine crawlers are being repositioned. Jaedong is microing for his WCS America.
If the Queens can right-click on that warp prism,
there's a pylon in his base as well, man.
It's done. That's it.
8 more Zealots with +1 being wiped into the main base, and the upset of all upsets so far in WCS America, perhaps in any WCS region, is that Jaedong is going to be our first player to be eliminated of WCS Group D. What?
Unbelievable. Hats off to Haas for finding a way to make it happen. Unorthodox play, highly aggressive play.
However, the problem with any kind of cheesy playstyle is that at one point it becomes predictable. Since such strategies rely heavily on an element of surprise and inexperience, they fall short in comparison with meta builds when things get figured out. Hence, many genius Protoss players burned brightly, but not for long. The consistency was not their biggest strength, and there were many more players who could confidently outplay them in normal macro games. But it was only a matter of time when somebody would be able to combine both great mechanical macro skills with a huge arsenal of Protoss creativity. So things changed with the appearance of Kim Yoo-jin, known as SOS. Unlike Stardust or Duckjock, he didn't have a big breakthrough premier victory immediately, and yet already in May 2013, he made it to the top of 4 of GSL Code S. Quite an achievement for a relatively new player, but it's not really about how far he got, it's about how he did it. Jack of all trades, SOS wasn't averse to going off limits with everything his race has. This is why he would soon become the absolute fan favorite. It was such a joy to watch his matches because you never knew what to expect. It could be aggressive pressure followed by Dark Templars, or it could be a proxy Stargate into Stalker push. On 4-player maps, SOS could go for crazy one-base all-ins, and he was also very capable of playing a normal macro game that would match almost any opponent in terms of speed and multitasking. Eventually, he was defeated by Soulkey in the semifinals, and you can watch our analysis in the previous story, Soulkey Innovation Reverse Sweep. But it was a hell of a run anyway. Let's jump to his next brilliant performance, which occurred at WCS 2013 Season 1 Finals. SOS was adding new playstyles to his diverse collection, and it's worth saying that he was amongst the pioneers of Skytoss playstyle. It was believed to be rather weak, but both SOS and Swedish Protoss Naniwa managed to find a way to make it useful during mid-game, the stage where it was historically weak and vulnerable during that time window. With mass Void Rays, Zealots, and Sentries, it was possible to hold the line even against the best Zergs in the world. Interestingly, SOS also named Naniwa as his favorite foreign player, who was notorious for his reckless behavior both in-game and IRL. Back to Season 1 Finals. SOS made it to the semifinals where he faced Soulkey. Now he could take his sweet revenge, and let's briefly go over his ways of doing it. All of the 3 maps out of 5 he won were marked by incredible decision making. First map, mass Void Raids that caught Soulkey off guard.
Now he's bringing the Mothership Core with this. That's going to be great if he wants to recall back home. Charging that up and picking up the Infestor with a Phoenix. That layer getting very low. It looks like it's going to go down.
Oh, some great lifts by this Phoenix. He prevented 2 fungal growths that could have hit him. And in fact, he might get the spawning pool as well. And don't forget, he can just warp right out of here. That was a beautiful move by SOS.
Absolutely beautiful. That's going to stifle the upgrades for the Zerg too. So
that is the beauty behind the strategy, Tasteless. The Mothership Core flying around with those Void Rays. They can just go anywhere for defense and escape after overcommitting what would have been in the past overcommitting to attacks.
Really nice positioning there with that Zealot army. And as I said, with the Zealots attacking the location we have right over here, he can also push forward with the Sky Toss and Zealot army on the ground. And I don't know if Soulkey is going to last much longer here.
Yeah, it's not looking like it. We could have some big feedbacks going off, and he does get them all. Only a single fungal going down, and now the Muta's all clumped up. Oh, a little bit sloppy there from Soulkey, and another good storm from SOS with these Archons. He's definitely dead.
I think that's going to be it. GG, absolutely brilliant play.
Third map, Cannon Rush into well-executed Robo-Push.
Wow, that is quite a location, Tasteless.
All right. Well, this is really bad for the Zerg. That is... oh.
All right, well, this is going to be a pretty big lead for SOS. We should be seeing a hatchery cancel. There's no... Well, we'll see. I mean, the Zergling's going to run in, but they're blocked off from that back cannon.
I know SOS played with a lot of Legos as a kid.
Yeah, it seems that way, right?
Yeah.
This is pretty rough.
Gonna try to get those probes so they can't make anything else.
Okay, at this point, he does need to end up canceling this hatchery. I don't think that there's any possibility of holding this.
Well, it looks like he's gonna... No, he's not gonna cancel
He's gonna bring the spine.
He's gonna bring the spine down here now.
Well, he's making a lot of Zerglings.
I don't think this works. I think look at the positioning of where the gases are, the minerals. You can't actually overwhelm this with Zerglings. He can easily make another pylon too to block that. The upper left of the second gas geyser there.
Yeah, and in fact, the spine crawler where it's burning, like he can get the warping in cannons, but what about the cannons that are already up? And that many Zerglings wouldn't kill that many cannons if it was on open ground. So,
well, this is just not good.
Yeah. Deja vu, Tasteless.
This is Soulkey not going out with a bang, but a whimper right now. All right, well, he's gonna. I mean, there's nothing Zerg can do, and actually, when you cannon rush enough like this, it's almost impossible to lose after the initial cannon rush. Succeeds.
Well, he's killing so much off here, right? There's actually a drone mining at the cannons that gets away. I can't believe it. But SOS is gaining such an advantage. He actually has his Nexus halfway done, and I'm fairly certain he is going to kill this hatchery off. If Soulkey actually holds, that's pretty darn impressive.
I think this cannon actually will finish and kill off that spine crawler, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it should. It absolutely should. There's no transfusion energy.
He's trying to bait out the spine crawler to hit the probe.
That's cute. Okay, so he kills the hatch, and the amount ahead that SOS is, is hard to really put into words here.
No,
He's
this
got his
is
Nexus about to finish. The natural is going to be impossible to take for so long.
If this is a race, right now Soulkey just got lapped. I mean,
okay,
this is,
there you go. Well,
at this moment, other than hope, I guess to some extent, that SOS makes some kind of critical error in his unit control.
All right, a nice set of force fields, a nice blink back, and he's going to kill off a lot of these units, but we do have a bunch of Swarmos about to pop out. Maybe those can help a little bit.
Does he have an observer with his army?
Yeah, he does.
He does, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there it is. All right.
He's going to lose that Mothership core, but good time warps going down, and it looks like everything is going to evaporate. Yeah, he still has 2 observers, Tasteless, so no problem there. And it looks like this is the end of Soulkey.
It looks like we have our first finalist. And it is going to be a Protoss player, SOS, exacting his revenge on his opponent, Soulkey, from the GSL Coda semifinals before. GG.
But second map was something else, and we skipped that because it needs an extra bit of attention. It clearly shows how different his decision-making process is. So on Neoplanet S, SOS chooses to play a Dark Shrine, aiming to wreak havoc on Soulkey's base. No matter what happens next, there's a very common follow-up that makes sense. Dark Shrine opens an easy path for several possible army compositions, which usually feature Archons or Zealots. You've already invested a lot of money and time into necessary structures, so it's natural to continue using that force. And there's still a lot of options. You could harass with Archons in a Warp Prism, go for 8-gate Zealot Archon push, play normal macro with a 3rd base, and many other options. However, SOS goes for mass Stargate into Void Rays. It makes very little sense because A, it takes some time to get your Void Rays out, B, it's very expensive and risky. Yet it's something that nobody expects to see. So let's check out how it worked.
Yeah, this is a bad situation. Now he has a bunch of roaches against Void Rays, Taste. It's gonna be pretty rough. He is throwing up the Hydralisk Den, but it's a little bit late. And, you know, Void Rays don't do too terribly against Hydralisk, especially after an opening like this.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there.
He might actually just fly in here and snipe another hatch.
Yeah.
Here's
the thing, he can actually zone out the Overseer here,
yeah,
which is not fast enough to actually get away from this.
Well, that's a little bit rough. Oh, he does sneak out a little bit of a misclick there.
All right, so now Zerga's supply blocks has lost the Overseer, is going to continue to be supply blocked. This is where he would probably want to charge up.
Or he's just going to go ahead and target these queens down. Going to lose a single Void Ray, but he's dealing a lot of damage to the queens. If he ends up getting all 3, it is worth it, but if he doesn't get any, of course, it is not. All right. Looks like, yeah, he's going to get all 3 of these. Very nice. And the army actually just kind of running back now. Not sure what they're going to be able to do against flying units, but okay.
Okay, and now he's going to. I think we're almost at GG here. This is pretty.
This is a lot of damage.
Painful to watch, guys.
It certainly is. Picking off all those Overseers, a very nice move. No Spore Crawler, despite the fact that it's Sky Toss and DTs.
This is not the Soulkey that I cast a little while ago in the finals.
No, this is not the Soulkey from yesterday.
This is very disappointing play right now. And I think we are getting very close to this game ending here, as the Zerg's economy is in shambles. Only just now Overlords are hatching out. SOS acquiring a 3rd base.
And this is looking all but over right now. If he can somehow kill that hatchery, that's too much, but does get chased away. You know, only 2 Void Rays should not be able to kill that right now. But as you said, Tasteless, disappointing play here from Soulkey.
You know, this is one of those advantages for the Protoss where the secret to winning from here is you don't forget pylons and you make stuff. And you're set. Maybe Soulkey can do something with this attack. He's moving in now. Now, with the Hydra's off creep, they don't have a lot of mobility, so they can't really be microed very well at all. Nice force fields here.
And, well, Soulkey's breaking through a little bit. Those Archons very low on shields, so they're going to evaporate.
There's no Overseer with the army, so you can just make DTs, right?
Yeah, that is
There is no Overseer. I'm not missing anything.
No,
right?
There's no Overseer. In fact,
he left the Overseer
get
at
pushed
home.
away, but he's making an Overseer near it. And now another DT going to come in and wreak havoc on these drones once again.
Oh, my God. All right, well, it looks like the drones are going to save this.
Yeah.
And Zerg going to continue to push forward here.
That's a lot of Hydras.
It is a lot of Hydras.
This is a lot of Zealots. And in fact, Overseer being micro back this time, very well done. but the Hydra's taking a lot of damage, and that is a ton of leftover Void Rays.
Yeah, there's just too many Void Rays left over. You know, the Zealots there are like almost every matchup, they're there to sponge up the damage while the Void Rays deal the damage. And this is, again, like really just the point of no return. He's going to target down that Overseer. This means DTs are not even stoppable right now.
The unique ability to shuffle between completely different strategies, not only between games but also during them, is what allowed SOS to quickly rise to the top. He was arguably the toughest opponent to deal with. It was also the perfect time for such a player to appear. It was exactly in Heart of the Swarm when the Protoss race had the largest arsenal of different strategies and build orders. It was also the best period for many wild 2-base pushes, which, of course, SOS loved to use as well. You can learn more about common playstyles in our videos about balance. Nevertheless, SOS was absolutely stomped by Innovation in the finals. Despite him playing different strategies, he was still perhaps a bit behind mechanically, and he couldn't find the best way to tackle Innovation's sheer might in the late game. This was the biggest fear for SOS fans, as it could mean that maybe he'd get figured out soon, and the magic of his creativity could disappear. However, as mentioned before, SOS had just way too many tricks up his sleeve. The rest of 2013 wasn't as successful as the start, and after getting shredded by Innovation's buzzsaw tactics, SOS was struggling to repeat his results and keep his consistency going. However, thanks to his excellence during the early 2013 tournaments, he had the honor to compete in the WCS 2013 Global Finals, the most prestigious tournament of the year. SOS wasn't an underdog anymore, but he also wasn't the guy who was destined to win the event. There were many others of a higher caliber, at least that's what many fans believed. Also, if we take a look at WCS standings, we'll see that SOS only placed 12th, with twice the less points than titans such as Soulkey, Innovation, and Jaedong. But he got a little bit lucky with the bracket. His first opponent would be Liquid Hero. And while this Protoss player was still a formidable foe at late 2013, this was a lesser threat than many names mentioned a bit earlier. In addition, it was a PvP matchup, which has been historically known and regarded as the most unstable, even random matchup that existed in StarCraft 2. But remember, SOS thrives in chaos. Eventually, SOS took Hero 3-1 and faced Polt, another honorable veterans of the Wings of Liberty scene. Also, an American favorite. After playing 2 maps with no particularly interesting stuff going on, our players got tied up. And then, on the 3rd round, SOS chose to surprise both Polt and the fans. Here again, we see his unorthodox strategies in the heat of battle. From 1-base proxy Stargate to a very fast proxy 3rd Nexus. Who could have done that if not SOS? After a rather straightforward Game 4, SOS found himself in the semifinals against Bomber. And this was already a great result, but he was obviously craving for the coveted first prize. This time, it was similar to the previous match. SOS was confidently setting the pace of the game and then proceeded to outplay his opponent in macro. Who would await him in the finals though? Would he face the beast himself, Innovation, once again? Surprisingly, SOS's Kryptonite was eliminated in the very first round by none other than Duckdog, another cheesy and creative Protoss player. But in the finals, it was perhaps the most legendary Zerg player ever, Jaedong. So much could be said about Jaedong, also known as the Tyrant, but this is the story about SOS, so let's keep it simple. Jaedong was simply the best Brood War Zerg ever. But only recently had he transitioned to StarCraft 2, where his results were fluctuating a bit. Apparently, he was able to adapt to the game rather quickly, and in 2013, he already had 4 second-place finishes. What was surprising is that Jaedong would always seem totally unstoppable until the finals, and yet somehow the gold medal would sneak away from him and be stolen by someone else, as if it was a curse. Would it happen again though? Jaedong confidently crushed every opponent in his way, but he did struggle against creative and cheesy Protoss players like Stardust, and hence SOS in particular. Probably that's why SOS opened with a cannon rush in the first game. Jaedong was able to recover, and it went into a very entertaining late game.
And that's going to be his big switch as he loses his supply.
Yeah, that's going to be it. But does he lose these 8 mules that come out? Does he lose the hatcheries? Does he lose the lava? Extra spires are being made. This is getting crazy.
Once again, Jaedong is going for a base trade scenario, but will it work? As SOS tears through Jaedong's base, he eliminates critical tech structures.
Uh-oh, some DTs in there, no real detection. He's gonna have to end up using a fungal most likely. This is getting really painful for Jaedong. He has to go home and lose this supply so he can make Mutalisks.
All right, well, imagine if you lost Overlords or something along those lines. This is becoming very, very close in a game that almost shouldn't have been.
It's absolutely insane. The bottom right base is being taken out. Phoenix is being produced. There are 3 spires being made right now.
Did he lose his main spires? Is that why we're not seeing it?
He lost both spires back there at the second.
Oh, this is really stressful right now, I imagine, for Jaedong. With all the Phoenixes being made, they've already been upgraded for so long. They're going to be so good against Mulas that pop.
That is very true, but these Mutas do have +3 attack. There may be a few Infestors left on the map that could swing that battle in his favor. But this is starting to look really rough for Jaedong.
You know, if he gets enough Phoenixes out, the Overlords are not really well protected. I mean, he could actually wipe out all of the ability for the Zerg to make units here.
Oh, and he's actually adding on 4 high tempo, and I really think that's the deal with what he's expecting, I'd imagine, to be Mulish. He's probably like, Jaedong, come on, man, you've been on 5 bases for 20 minutes. Where's the money?
Well, it's a very good question. I think he's really smart to be making these Phoenixes. Jaedong just losing the Spires, doing the base trade with Ultras, it's not working out for him.
He doesn't have enough lava.
No, he does not.
He's lost so much.
It's so sad. He has all this capital, and he can't spend it.
Well, here goes the army, and this is going up towards at least where 1 or 2 of his extra spires are at, and there are 2 of them. So those are going to be taken out rather quickly as well. Good thing, though, he made 3.
Does Jaedong fight up there to defend that location, or does he forget about it and try to keep the Mulis count rising?
I think he has to forget about it. There's no way to save it, no matter what. Those Immortals are going to win whatever battle comes to them right now. He actually just has to have mass mutas, but there's so many Phoenixes out, I don't know that it matters.
And the Spires are going to be stamped out again here. Jaedong running out of places to hide as this death ball of SOS moves from location to location, slowly wiping out anything Jaedong related.
Oh god, these Phoenixes doing such a great job against the Mutas, and in fact coming to join up this army with all those Archons. You are never going to be able to engage this.
Yeah, after watching this game, I can't help but feel how good and how well SOS has played. Just imagine, a few moments ago he's on 3 bases, he couldn't take a 5, he looked so far behind, but everything's gone his way.
It certainly has, and this is the final battle. GG!
Second game, and it's the cannon rush once again. SOS was obviously trying to make Jaedong uncomfortable, and it's actually the best way to play against the Zerg race. This time, however, the game did not last too long.
And we now have the Zealots just doing so much damage at this point in time. You know, I think a lot of this goes back to the fact that that proxy pylon with the cannons was never taken out.
And Jaedong just doesn't have that high of a mineral income. His main base is consistently harassed. He's only mining fully off 1 base at this moment.
Oh my god, and look at where he puts those Zealots. Just perfect placement against someone only making Zerglings, but luckily with these better upgrades, he will clear this out as well.
So many queens have been picked off here. You know, the Phoenixes are so agile, they can get in and out and just avoid these corruptors with ease.
SOS is playing such an intelligent playstyle right now. He's got 2 cannons there to support another pylon where he can continue to harass and continue to warp in units to stop the income and economy of Jaedong. This is beautiful play coming from SOS.
It looks like SOS is maybe a minute or 2 away, actually maybe a second or 2 away, from forcing Jaedong on 2 base, and this goes back to the basic theme of Protoss versus Zerg. Zerg always have to be ahead in a base, or Protoss will dominate them.
A perfect play here from SOS. So clever, so good. And he's continuing to upgrade his Phoenixes. He has so many, it makes sense. How does Jaedong recover from this situation?
And I'm not sure he can here from this point. He's losing so much. SOS, as you vividly described, is playing so smart. This is some very intelligent play from game 1 and game 2.
We see the Phoenix is now strong enough to engage the Corruptors, doing so much damage, and Zealot spinning in here. I don't know if Jaedong can recover.
It looks like he may be dying here, Tasteless and Apollo. Look at all of these Zealots just pushing forward. The Corruptors almost all gone. This is bad news for Jaedong.
Again, the Corruptors being beaten back. nothing really here to stop these Zealots. And I think we're probably going to have to go into game number 3.
Yeah, even if Jaedong's able to push this back with the Roaches and Corruptors he has, this is a very easy place for SOS to fall back onto a third and continue the game longer if Jaedong does defend on what he has in bases at the moment.
At this point, the Phoenix count is simply too high. They're being so efficient. It's snowballed far out of its control.
And I gotta wonder what's going on in Jaedong's mind. How is he gonna recover here as this series continues? Because SOS is playing like probably nothing Jaedong prepared to face against.
You can't prepare against something like this. This is a strategy that we basically never ever see, but SOS has used it and executed it like a strategy he does 10 times a day.
And he's gone up to 4 Stargates now. He'll probably throw down the third base momentarily, and he's just going to increase his Void Ray count. He realizes that Jaedong only has Zerglings and Roaches to play around with. The air units aren't good when the Phoenixes are out in so many.
The Spore Crawlers won't even stop the number of Void Rays that he's going to be flying across the map with. It's a perfect move again by SOS, and Jaedong cannot even switch into Hydralisk from here.
Yeah, right now this is like a checkmate. Yeah, GG.
The third map was marked by another Proxy Nexus attempt. However, this time, Jaedong, on the contrary to the 2 previous games, managed to get a really strong position in the late game and simply outproduced and outperformed SOS. Next map, and guess what? A cannon rush! Actually, wait, no. This time, it's a fake cannon rush into a very straightforward, even bland, Zealot Immortal attack that managed to catch Jaedong off guard.
Well, he's moving forward. The Warp Prism, warping in a couple more Zealots. Jaedong is building units. He's not too high up with his drone count, currently 54, and he is building 10 Roaches. Are they going to be enough here? Remember, with no sentries, he's not going to really be able to hold these units back from rushing in.
That is a lot of Roaches, but yeah, with that many Zealots, I mean, you can't kite all day against this, and look at that, a beautiful Time Warp does go down. The Immortals moving forward, trying to hit the Roaches. A second Time Warp goes down.
He's continuing to just press for more and more damage. The Roaches now up against the ropes. The Zealots here just dishing out so much. He can continue to warp in. These Immortals are so well positioned, by the way.
Just an amazing attack thus far. More and more Roaches just piling out, but these 2 Immortals killing them off. GG!
And so, Jaedong was on the verge of defeat in the finals for the 5th time in his not yet so long StarCraft 2 career. It was hopeless to predict SOS's next step, so he could only hope to survive until he got a very good position with at least 4 hatcheries. And of course, SOS was planning to not allow him to do that.
Can you defend against this attack? Because if not, then we're going to have a Protoss World Champion. This attack coming now, as you described, Blink, +2 attack isn't too far away. There's a good amount of Colossus, there's Time Warp, there's the Force Fields here. Jaedong needs to probably flank well, come from behind. He has to deal with this attack, otherwise SOS will be the champion.
And that's the last thing that Jaedong needs at this point in time. I mean, this is the map for Jaedong, by the way. This is the map. Before this entire series started, I was thinking, okay, well, he's probably going to put on some matter. Hold on, he's catching at least Hydras.
All right, not quite as bad as it could have been there. Now, this is a maxed out Zerg army, so SOS still has to be careful. He does hallucinate with single Colossus. Looks like his Phoenix is getting picked off very quickly. We're going to have to see some great force fields here as well.
Oh, and here the fight engages. The Corruptors trying to bring down the Colossus fast enough. Is this going to be the fight that Jaedong wants? SOS reinforcing with more Stalkers, though.
The Stalkers blink under, and there is not much left on the ground. GG! SOS is the WCS StarCraft 2 World Champion. It's been all year, and it cannot be disputed. SOS is your champion!
With that victory, SOS cemented himself as the best player of 2013. It was a perfect ending for the year as well, as it symbolized the state of the game in a certain way. Protoss race wasn't the strongest in macro, and it suffered in long and exhausting late game matches with Zerg Swarm hosts and Terran all over the place drops. But it was also the race that provided the best tools for creative players to capitalize on, which is what SOS eventually did. Even with this one victory, SOS had already written his name in the history of StarCraft 2. His wit, creativity, and impeccable decision-making brought a lot of joy to all Protoss fans across the world, and it wouldn't be an overstatement to say that the world has never seen anybody so inspiring in regards to how different you can play such a beautiful game as StarCraft 2. With so many opportunities and tactical diversity, every map was a unique and breathtaking experience for true esports fans. But oh boy, little did we know back in 2013, SOS was not the only Protoss player who would shock the audience with swift attacks and special tactics. It was indeed the year of Protoss players. First Duck, then Stardust, and now SOS. This trio caused a lot of chaos in the top ranks of the SC2 pros. However, coming into 2014, all of them but SOS ran out of luck. And would the same fate follow SOS? Nobody knew at that time what else he was going to achieve, but that's the end of part 1. Soon we'll uncover many more SOS achievements and the legacy that he left in StarCraft 2. But for now, make sure to check out similar stories of Duck and Stardust on our channel, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed our journey today. Have a nice day, and we'll see you next time.